Countdown day 18 to my trip to Vegas, and the subject today is 51 and still paying off my student loan. Back in 2015, my student loan was over $94,000. And then I got a call from the student loan operator saying, Mr. Morris, if you don't make a payment now that you're working, we're going to garnish your taxes, garnish your wages, and we're going to whatever, take your income tax. At first I thought, oh, she's just talking. Then she's like, no, we've checked, you're working. There's no reason you shouldn't be paying off your loans, no more deferments. We're going to take your money from you we're going to set the payment rate on how much you garnish unless you set up a payment plan. So after being on the phone for over like 15 minutes, I think. It was a while. In my mind, it was 15 minutes. Maybe it was 5 or 6, but whatever was going to happen, she was going to take the income tax return and they were going to garnish my wages, period. So after begging, she broke me down. The 6'2" black guy was crying, please don't take my money, please. Please don't garnish the wages. The reason I didn't want my wages garnished was before I had owned a couple of duplexes and I took out over $14,000 on the Bank of America line of credit in anticipation of rent coming in. And of course that didn't work out. And then eventually during the 2008 recession, the tenants moved out and all kind of shit happened. I'll talk about that later. And basically I lost the duplexes to foreclosure, but I still had over $14,000 on the credit card I have to pay off. So that meant if I was going to pay off my student loan, I'd have to get an extra job. So that's how I discovered selling, and then that's how I started making extra money. But just think now, my student loan was over $94,000 in 2016, or now it's like below August 2019. I got it below $40,000, and I'm going to see if I can't pay it off within a year. But I want you guys to think. I want you to raise your hands if you say, hey, do you want to wait until you're 51 to finally pay off your student loans? Hi, do you want to wait? Raise your hand if you want to wait until the operator from the student loan calls you up and threatens to garnish your wages and take your taxes. You don't need to go through that. So if you're in your 20s or 30s and you're working, I know you may feel like you're working at Amazon is not what you went for when you got your accounting degree, or you thinking working at Starbucks or as a manager, or just doing whatever you're doing. You're making decent money. You have a nice place to live. You're thinking your student loan should have given you more. You could be right. I agree, because I went through some stretches where my student loan didn't quite get me what I wanted. But eventually you'll use your own talent to get to where you are. And the reason you want to pay off the loan is I don't want you to just think how much I paid for extra interest, 1 to 2% extra interest. That probably totaled to about maybe $5,000 to $20,000 for the past 15 years. That's almost the price of a new luxury car that I could put a down payment on and still not afford and have to take out a 6-year note for. So there's no use of you paying that extra interest, because in my day, at least the interest rate was like 2 to 3% before the 2008 crash. Now, basically, interest is basically zero. The banks don't even want you to put your money in the bank. As soon as you put your money in the bank, they want to loan it out to someone who wants to buy a house. So I want you to think, why in my time you could also find different jobs. I could work in a warehouse, work as a cashier, work at student loan, but because of Amazon, sort of like a lot of those side jobs you could get at a retail have been taken away, because a lot of those places have actually gone out of business. So the world that I live in only in 2008 compared to what you have in 2019 has changed. Just think of this phone that I'm recording for. This you used to spend like in my day, you could not do this. You'd have to spend like $5,000 to $10,000 to get a couple of minutes to give a little talk. Now I have a $100 phone from Samsung. I'm streaming live on YouTube or making a video on my phone. I'm going to transfer it to YouTube, and they'll probably charge me. But just think, there's a difference between paying a couple of $100 just to record to the world. And basically, this access is all to the world. Well, in my day, you could just get a videotape, and then you had to go to the different people and get the money out. So when I had my student loan back in the 90s, there were just more opportunities to go out there and make extra money. But now the only way I found out to really make money now, you have to know how to build lists, you have to know how to sell, and you have to know how to close. If you can help people get their message out there, that's how you make money now. All those menial labor jobs, like working at a McDonald's, working at a Disneyland, Working just somewhere where you could just make extra money is just gone. This is 2019. I think the technology is kind of leveled off, is what I see. But what I'm saying is, at least in this period of time now with the technology, because in my day there was no such thing as Stripe, PayPal. Usually it was you only got paid by check or cash. That's it. That's why I'm like 51, so that's why I sort of like I'm still hung up on the cash thing, because that's how I paid. Because I know checks bounce. I worked as a student loan to make extra money in college. The checks bounce, and when I own property as a property manager, I know checks bounce. But now with this electronic payment, Stripe, and what you have out there now, just the opportunities. If you're like in your 20s or 30s now, if you just know how to sell or come up with an idea for messaging, you can knock that student loan out in like 1 to 2 months if you do it right. In worst case scenario, 1 to 2 years. But just say you have the money, you're saying, Martin, I have the money, but I just don't feel like paying. I agree. I was the same way. I didn't feel like paying. I bought like a Beamer. I got a house. I was taking trips to Japan. I was doing all kind of stuff instead of paying that student loan. But one thing about that student loan is it did not go away. And it's not bankruttable. And you're just like, and you're delaying the inevitable. Because if you don't pay it off with the money you have, you're saying that you're in bankruptcy. One thing like I've learned is I got this loan paid off. My skills of working with people, finding the messages, and going out and finding ways to help make money have made me more creative. And also I know what's a depreciating asset, what's an appreciating asset. So I'm learning how to control my money, but also I'm learning how more businesses work in this 2019 environment. And what you basically have to learn is you're going to fail a lot, and after you fail, you're going to adjust and go do it again. So I was thinking this year, now that I'm 51, I'm going to get married, probably get a girlfriend, 30 or 40, just say, hey, honey, I'm like 51, probably not going to live for another 20 years or so. You're going to be in your 40s, and you get all my insurance money. So, hey, let's just go have some fun now, unless I can get my body transferred into one of those robot bodies, or they have some some super genes that I could be like Picard and live forever. So what I'm saying is, like, if you pay that student loan off, you will feel confident, because that means you're in control of your money. That means you're learning how to deal with people better, and you also know how to take a business idea and monetize it. And that's what I know how to do now. Like with my sales skills, I'll just go tell a person, hey, give me $5,000 for this, $10,000 for that. Oh, I don't want to do that. Okay, I agree, cheaper options available, but are you going to be in business long enough to take advantage of that cheaper option? And is that cheaper option going to help you make money? So, do you really want to be 51 and paying off your student loan? I want you to think about that. Why don't you just get it out the way? You can do your own YouTube series like me and just say, how I was 20 and 25 and just paid off my student loan. The choice is yours.